Welcome back. One thing we haven't talked about so far is resetting our setup. And this one is also very important. Let's say you want to switch between these states, a man in the middle state and back to a normal non-man in the middle state. Maybe to verify if the certificate pinning approach is really the issue in our connection over here. This can be a little bit tricky. Therefore, let's have a look how we can perform this without having a much overload over here. Alrighty? Okay, let's switch back to the Ubuntu VM and then we have a look into this. Okay, so here we are now at the Ubuntu VM and now let's have a look how we can switch between these setups, between the man in the middle setup and the clean one. So how we can toggle them on and off. Therefore, let's start with establishing our man in the middle setup over here. So if you open a terminal, we can see, okay, we haven't performed anything right now. Therefore, let's plug it in. Alrighty, let's see. There we have now our interface. Okay, now let's run the Burp Suite. There we go. Okay, temporary project, default settings. Okay, so now we are pretty familiar right now with all these steps. In proxy, options, we added this interface to 10.42.01. We enable invisible proxy. And there we go. And we also disable HTTP 2. So project options, HTTP, and here we disable it. Okay, Burp Suite setup done. Now let's take our IP table rule. And this one over here, IP tables -tnut. We want to append a new pre-routing rule regarding to the protocol TCP destination port 80. We want to change the destination address to destination 10.42.01.80.80. And this also for HTTPS connections. Okay, the setup should be done right now. Let's see. Let's opening our smartphone and also keep the burp over here. Alright, now let's see if this one works. So within the proxy HTTP history, and let's open a new tab. No internet connection. Alright. We can see no Wi-Fi connection. Therefore, let's enable Wi-Fi. Yes. Okay, we select our TP-Link access point over here. Okay, now it's retrieving an IP. Okay, now we should be good to go. Okay, we can already see those requests over here. All right, man in the middle setup is working. Nevertheless, let's verify if this is really our device. So let's open a new incognito tab and then example.com. Yes. All right, so man in the middle setup established successful. Nice. Now let's see how we can reset this. And the assumption is if we simply delete our IP table rules, then this whole setup should be gone, right? Absolutely. Therefore, let's have a look into this. So where's there we have it. Okay, so we can list the IP table rules with IP tables -tnut VNL. Here we have our IP table rules for the NUT table. Okay, now if you want to delete them, we have two options. One, if we go back into our command over here, in this one, instead of append, this A, we can also use capital D for delete this rule. So by having this, we can delete certain rules in there. If you perform this, for example, for 443, and now if we list them back again, we can see the IP table rule regarding to 443 has been gone. In our case, we do not have complex setups with multiple IP table rules. Therefore, we can also flush them all. But this can come super handy if you have 10 ports and you want to, release certain ports in your connection over here, then you can delete single rules via this command. Alrighty? Okay, now if you want to get rid of all, then you can simply use IP tables -tnut and the flush command. This will now delete all IP table rules within the NUT table. And if you read something about IP tables --flush, this doesn't affect the NUT table. Therefore, we have to provide this over here for our IP table rules, okay? All right, so let's delete this once again. IP tables -tnut and then flush. All right, now it should be gone. There we go. Okay, so the assumption is right now we are not forwarding our package into the Burp Suite anymore. Therefore, this connection over here should now work as it has no man in the middle setup right now. So the traffic should be generally forwarded to our NAT interface of our Ubuntu VM over here and then back into the internet. Like there's no proxy in between this. But we can already see this icon over here, no internet connection. So if you try to open a web page, https example.com, and then we can see it's not working anymore. And if you take a look into the Burp Suite, we can also see them over here or even not see them over here. So the connection is now gone. The reason for this is by flashing the IP table rules, they are not being deactivated. So they get removed, but existing IP table rules might be still affecting our connection over here. This is very tricky. Therefore, if you want to go back to a clean setup, we can reset this network interface, and then those IP table rules which has been established before are also removed. The simplest way to do is simply plug it off and on again, the USB cable of your USB to Ethernet adapter. Let's do this over here. So if you plug it out and you put it in again, now the whole connection is refreshing. The Burp Suite can be still active over here because we're not forwarding any package anymore. And now we only have to wait until the smartphone connects back to this Wi-Fi interface. We can maybe observe this over here. Let's see. Settings. Okay, it's connected back to the Wi-Fi and it still claims no internet, but it hasn't just refreshed it. So if you now go back into this tab over here, and if you're now opening example.com, we can see the site is loading, and also this no internet connection should be disappear in just a moment. So maybe let's do this for https example.com. All right, so it's loading. Maybe let's do Google because they might be cached right now. There we go. And we can also see on the left, there's no interaction with the Burp Suite anymore. So if we now want to establish our man in the middle connection once again, we only have to reinsert our two IP table commands. This one over here. So maybe let's do this. All right. I'm using the upper arrow keys to simply select this. Okay, and this one, and also the one for the port 80. Okay, and now if you are opening a web page, and let's try if example.com is still being cached. Okay, yes, and therefore let's close this browser, reopening it. And now let's open a new incognito tab and opening https example.com. And there we go. Here we have it. All right, man in the middle setup established once again. If you want to get rid of this, simply use the IP tables flush command, IP tables -t-nat flush, plug it off, wait a second, plug it in again, and then we are good to go to have a clean setup once again. All right. So this is how we can reset our man in the middle setup over here. You can also, of course, reset the network interface via the ifconfig command. But I like to do the turn it off and on again approach over here. Okay, so that's all for this video right now. Do not get disturbed by messages like this. We are having right now an internet connection, and this is how we can reset our man in the middle setup very easily. We can now switch it off and on by simply performing these steps. Flushing the IP table rules, plug it off and on, and if you want to have it once again, simply inserting these IP table rules once again. Alrighty, perfect. I'm looking forward to see you in the next video.